Thank you, Kevin. I think we're all straight on that now. Let's go up to the chairman and get the judging underway.
Chef Tinsley, please tell us what your inspiration was for today's secret ingredient.
Well, I certainly wanted to play off the various textures and the versatility of fresh beans. And so in this first dish, I have some crostini with toasted guanciale on top, and the fava bean puree has a little bit of mint in it, and you can just spread that on the crostino and enjoy.
I like the richness and the texture of the fava. I think it brings a lot of heart warmth to my palate. I think the guanciale doesn't speak to me as much as the fava bean puree.
Didn't speak to you as much?
Did not.
Mine wouldn't stop yapping away. Okay. Let me just tell you that much.
I'm glad to hear that.
I like the texture. I feel like it's very filling for me, and someone that eats beans constantly, I think for me, it was delicious.
I love salt, but this seasoning makes it a little hard to taste the favas in themselves.
Okay.
Chef Tinsley.
Yes. So the next course, you should get a waft of truffle coming towards you. That's summer truffle. The center there is a soft-boiled egg croquette, and using the haricot vert and the ham to create a slaw type of salad underneath. It's a truffle-infused ham as well, so we've got a little bit of truffle everywhere.
This brings us right to the first rule of restaurant touring and restaurants, is that people really just want to eat breakfast all the time. And this plays into it completely. And I think that the technique on the egg is fabulous. The haricot vert doesn't really work for me. It just seems kind of out of place and slightly underseasoned.
I like this. I thought it looked great. It was bright, and it made me want to dig right in. It was a little bit bland for me, but I did like it a lot.
So you're finished?
I'm done now. Go ahead. I only spoke for like 8 seconds compared to Joe.
I thought this was just delicious. The egg especially is delicious, and the truffles. Of course, there's no beans in the egg and truffles.
Chef Tinsley.
Yes. In front of you, you have a farro and edamame polpette, which is like a meatball, but it doesn't have any meat in it, obviously. And it's served with a white wine, cream, and herb sauce that also has a little bit of formaggio di fossa in it.
I love this. I think this is great. I love the sauce. I think it goes well with the texture of the polpette. Works for me.
But this would remind you of the veggie burgers you eat every day.
This is a great veggie burger. Totally love your veggie burger.
Wasn't what I was going for, but I'll take it.
I say go with it, run with it.
Chef Tinsley.
So here we have a stracciapreti pasta, and it's with squid ink. And then the sauce is made with cranberry beans, clams, a little bit of tomato in the sauce as well.
How did you make the pasta?
I rolled it out. I cut it on the tagliatelle cutter, and then I rolled them together.
Roll them together, so that's a little like peachy.
Similar.
I think the texture of the pasta is fabulous. Very, very good. Sotto dente, very, very delicious. In Tuscany, I guess they do a similar process they call pinci, right?
Yes, we were just talking about that.
Except there they roll them on the women's thighs.
Oh, yeah.
That's the technique used.
Awkward.
Here you have both yellow and black wax bean salad served with heirloom tomatoes on some spice-cured beef tenderloin, also known as carne salada.
Not being a great big filet eater, I like the way this kind of almost goes to being a carpaccio, and I like the room temperature aspect of it because I think it kind of really brings to light the softness and subtleness of the beef. I think that there's a lot of salt on the crust, and it's kind of
too much.
Getting there.
Okay.
The beans are a little underdone. I think the filet, which is usually one of my least favorite parts of the steer, is just delicious here. It's very good.
Chef Tinsley, thank you for a wonderful meal.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Iron Chef Flay, please tell us what your approach was to today's secret ingredient.
I think that one of the most difficult things was to get as much starch out of the bean as possible because some beans were really incredibly starchy. So we combined the beans with other things to kind of balance it out.
Excellent. Shall we begin?
Okay, the first course is a sauce made out of edamame. There's also some green peas in there, and then it's served with a tuna tartare that has some Asian flavors with fresh wasabi and ginger, soy sauce, sesame oil, and then some edamame running through it as well. And there's just a crispy plantain there for some texture.
Well, I love the look. It pops. It's very well presented. I think it's great. And the spice, the kick, is very good.
Thank you.
I like the heat in the sauce, too, and I think it's a great kind of take on, you know, tuna tartare is kind of ubiquitous, and this has kind of got a good spin on it within the context of fresh beans, and manipulating fresh beans into these kind of textures is a challenging thing, and you did it with great success here, so I like it.
Thank you.
Iron Chef,
The next dish is a crispy haricot vert with two sauces. There's a parsley pesto, and then the orange sauce is a sauce made with piquillo peppers and anchovies.
Thank you. That was really well described.
Don't have to talk all the time.
No, I do. I do. Go ahead, Joe.
I think that tempura is like a surprisingly positive treatment on the haricot vert. The dish obviously shows a lot of depth and execution. If you charged me $12 for it as an appetizer in a restaurant, I'd come after you in the kitchen. But I think it's tasty and good and very fresh.
I love how it tastes, and I've had tempura string beans before, and they're never really good. Maybe because they use string beans instead of these. This is great tempura. Tastes delicious.
Thank you, Chef. Next course, please.
Okay, thanks.
Iron Chef filet.
Okay, the next dish is a play on some of the classic Greek dips using the beans that we were given today. So the pale green one is a play on tzatziki using the edamame. There's a combination basically of skodaya and hummus, which is the really white one. And then the last one is made with yellow wax beans and taram salata. And then it's served with a Mediterranean salad of tomatoes and olives, little feta cheese, cucumbers.
This is great. This is exactly what I would want you to do with the beans. It's exactly how I would want to eat it. I think it's just a great taste, and I like it.
I love the freshness of it. Again, I think a great success in kind of getting that kind of dry bean texture. I think that perhaps the herbal component, the aromatics, are a little bit heavy-handed, and the salad for me very, very punchy, very strong, almost cover up the delicacy of the olives and the tomatoes.
The oregano, you mean?
The oregano and basil, and it just a little heavy-handed on the roasting.
Thank you, Iron Chef.
Thank
Next
you.
course, please.
Okay, the next course, we used fava beans to make a pesto. Cooked the fava beans, blanched them, and then folded them in with some pine nuts, some cilantro, some Parmesan cheese, a little bit of garlic, olive oil, sitting on a roasted portobello mushroom. The sauce is a chipotle and grilled tomato vinaigrette. And then on top, there's some bean sprouts with a little bit of sea bean.
I like the fava bean pesto. I think it's really kind of the greenness of the cilantro really brings out the freshness of the favas. Portobello, in the world of endless options on mushrooms, portobello would be the last one I would pick. Not my fave.
I like the mushroom. Now, why did you diss the mushroom?
Because portobello mushrooms are like so 1994, you know? They're kind of watery, they're diluted, they don't have a lot of flavor or texture.
Yeah.
And we've come a long way since portobellos.
What do you use?
Maybe morels would have been fabulous with this because this sauce is very punchy and rich. It's kind of like almost got a guac kind of feel on the palate. It's not like there's a food cost issue here in Kitchen Stadium. He chose to use the portobello.
I think it's just fine, even though it is 1994.
Iron Chef filet.
Okay, the last course utilizes two of the beans. The cranberry beans are pureed into a sauce on the bottom of the plate that has some barbecue spices running through it. And then it is accompanied by a salad of smoked lobster and grilled haricot vert with some roasted shallots as well.
I loved all your dishes. This one was just okay for me. It was a little smoky for me. But again, the texture was good. I just thought that the smokiness was a little overwhelming for me.
I like every element of this, except I don't think that they necessarily go together. I would love to have the lobster with a little pool of cranberry beans and then the barbecue sauce and smokiness, and I would love to have the haricot vert, maybe with the lobster without the smoke. But anyway, altogether, I think they're just a little hard to put together.
I like all the components myself, too. I'm a little suspicious of the smoke.
You are?
Yeah, I don't quite know what to make of it or how to interpret it within the dish. It's just kind of out there.
Iron Chef filet. Thank you for an excellent meal.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Let's see, what could be next? Oh yeah, the verdict, when Iron Chef America returns. Welcome back to Kitchen Stadium, where Battle Fresh Beans is all wrapped up. The judges are ready to hand down their version of justice. Now, keep in mind, there are 20 possible points here. 10 can be given for the flavor of the dish, another 5 for originality, and a final 5 for the presentation or plating design. Now, let's go up to the chairman and find out whose cuisine reigns supreme.
Today, two champions met in Battle Fresh Beans here in Kitchen Stadium. Chef Tinsley, Iron Chef filet. The judges have spoken. And the winner is... Iron Chef filet.
So a tough introduction to Kitchen Stadium for Chef Tinsley. A valiant culinary performance, but Iron Chef Flay and crew have cooked their way to a clean sweep today. Well, and as we see, Battle Beans brings a mighty wind of honor and glory to Iron Chef Bobby Flay, who racks up another victory here in Kitchen Stadium. You know, usually I like to wrap these things up with a classic quote, but the poets of the past have been strangely quiet on the subject of beans. I did find one profound offering, though, from Bart Simpson, who once was forced to write on the blackboard at school, "Beans are neither fruit nor musical."